Get ready for the review.
What's up, guys? It's Weich from Beyond Comics. Yes, I'm about to tell you all about it without giving any spoilers involved, so don't worry, I will not spoil the film for you. However, I will give you a real breakdown so you know what you're in for. I think, number one, if they overhype it, it's going to just create disappointment. And I'm trying to do Warner Brothers a favor. I actually met Peter Safran, who's James Gunn's partner. And James Gunn, thank you for liking my post on Instagram. James Gunn is incredible, as you know. And Peter Safran, one of the nicest guys. He was so incredible to meet in person. I met him actually at the Heads of State premiere before this. And I can't say any spoilers. However, I will tell you, the movie is like a real, it's a decent Superman film. Children will love the film. Children will have no problem with the film. The older audience will like a little of the little innuendos and little jokes and things. However, for me, I have not seen anybody match what Christopher Reeve did in the very first Superman film. And that's something that kind of breaks my heart because I love Superman. I actually have one of the original 1941 hand-painted Max Fleischer Superman animation cells, which is a real treat to have that and really shows Superman too. Not limited edition, the actual real one. But you know, I'm a huge Superman fan. So if you like Smallville, if you like the CW, you know, Superman and Lois show, and you know, you'll like this too. I like this movie. It's a good movie. It's a decent film, but you know, for people to be overhyping it, then you're going to be disappointed and let down. But if I tell you the truth, like I'm talking right now, you'll go in and you'll be like, hey, decent. That's a Superman movie. It's a decent Superman movie. I think it embodies a lot of the things that we liked when we'd see different characters in the Justice League animation show and things like that. Of course, David Corenswet's amazing, but I personally liked it when Superman is more like this. And he's a little bit more direct, and he's controlling his emotions and feelings when he's upset or agitated. And you only see the crescendo of it when he loses Lois in the Christopher Reeve version at the end of that film, and he bursts out in tears and anger, and you felt it. But he never was whiny. For some reason, they wanted to show David Corenswet as kind of, no, I did good, I saved it, why not? And there's this kind of whininess in his character. I don't know why they chose that direction, which just kind of baffles me. I thought the suit looks much better in action. In still images, I know a lot of us were talking about how it looks very baggy. It's fine that it's a real suit. I just would have liked it to be a little bit more form-fitting because David Corenswet really built up his body for this role. So I think it's a little bit wonky looking in the sense of it being too thick and heavy. It makes him look almost overweight or fat or something in the suit, especially when he's not moving too much. I'm glad they brought back the red shorts, which is an iconic part of the suit design. However, they're so large that they gave the impression to me, and you've seen people online saying, oh, they're like adult Depends or big diapers or granny panties or things like I'm sure you've read all that stuff online. And I just think it should have also been more form-fitting instead of more not so boxy, just a little bit more form-fitting. Like Christopher Reeve's is like almost one of the most flawless, anatomically, strategically proportional design suits. As a comic book artist, writer, and director, my whole life, I can really appreciate the aesthetic design of how it formed around his shape. Same with Michael Keaton's Batman. That mask is like his eyebrows and face. It's really quite impressive. So again, I love that James Gunn brought back a lot of elements we like, even like the little yellow S on the back of the long cape and made it beautiful and stuff. Strange decision to me to have these weird fisheye camera lenses where like David Corenswet's face is like over here and his body shrinks back. That gives a very weak look. You'll notice they never did that in the Christopher Reeve films with Richard Donner, one of the king directors of our time. Because it proportionately makes you look short. If you have a bigger head, it makes you look short for your body. So that's why, for example, if my hand is here, it's proportional to my face. If my hand is here, it's even bigger than my head. You can do that with a fist, but not with someone's head flying forward like that. It shrinks their body. So you want the camera to be far back and have them fly like this, so the fists are big, not the face. The point is that I think as a film, you'll like it. It's a lot of focus on the other characters in the film. I'm surprised that they did that. I am just surprised that they didn't kind of focus more on Superman. To me, since Christopher Reeve, his Superman, everyone else to me seems like a kid playing cosplay, or an adult playing cosplay dressed up as Superman. I don't feel they are Superman. So like his performance of Clark Kent, I really like they brought back that dynamic, the kind of, goofy Clark Kent, slouchy, they really took that from the Christopher Reeve thing, which was great. I love the Max Fleischer gold rim on the S. That's cool. The Alex Ross actual S design, very cool. But again, the Clark Kent performance, slightly over the top. Again, more for kids, guys, so I think kids are going to be like, wow, he's fighting a big creature, this is exciting. And but for us who grew up with the Christopher Reeve Superman and have seen all the others, and the Henry Cavill darker Superman, I think it's difficult, because one of the things is that when you bring a comic book to life, you want it to be believable. You want to believe it's really existing in that universe. And if you make it too exact to the comic book, it starts to feel fake, or like people dressing up for Halloween or cosplay. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So I think that it's an understandable mistake that I think a lot of people who've taken on the mantle of trying to bring Superman to life have fallen into. There's a fine line between homage to the original and looking too fake or cartoony. You want it to look believable. You want people to believe this is really happening. So Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, you believe that guy is Batman. You believed it. Some of the complaints with Matt Reeves' Batman, the Batman, is that, having him just walk into the club, with other people, it ruined the illusion of that. It looked like a guy dressed up for Halloween. Same when he's just hanging out with all the police officers. When he was in pitch black and they were shooting the gun at him and it was reflecting off and you saw little bursts of him in shadow, that's Batman. That's what you got to target. So, James Gunn, if you're watching this, love your work. In fact, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think, was one of your finest written pieces. Like, that's a good story, script, execution. That was solid. Also, I think with the choice of, like, camera direction, without the special effects, it doesn't seem to hold up as strong. As where, for example, if you took away the special effects from the Richard Donner version of Superman, that's just really cinematic beauty. Like, it's like, wow, even without special effects, even though they did stuff practically. So in this, it's great, it's big, but there's some kind of a master level that people like Richard Donner had. You know what I mean? Like some amazing stuff. And even when Richard Lester took over for Superman 2, that he also is amazing, and Empire Strikes Back and all this stuff with the other director, Irvin Kershner stuff. So there's a certain kind of cinematography lens that's just wow. Also the editing. A fan re-edited the Superman trailer and just timed it right. And it was just a better edit. You felt excited because the way they introduced David Corenswet as Superman in that fan-made Twitter or X trailer was really impressive. That's a very good editor. That's a skilled editor on a level that's higher than, just delivering the goods. So don't get me wrong. Everybody is very talented in this film and good. Zero hate on it. Great. But I want it to go to that epic level. If it's good, that's great. But this is Superman. Let's make it epic. And here's how to do it. These little tweaks. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that they use the blue in the Superman collar. One of the cool factors is his neck going like that. It's kind of like this triangle shape that outlines the neck, and also the cape pulls the neck, so it gives like a thicker, stronger neck line for Superman. So if they had brought that back, it would have been nice, but that's all right. Little things like this to tweak. So I'm putting this out because I didn't have to sign any kind of waivers or anything. Seeing the Superman film, I'm clear. I'm in the clear for what I saw. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. And again, it's like, yeah, I hope they could really continue this in a bigger kind of way. But again, like Guy Gardner's haircut, I understand it looks like that in the comic books. But, for Green Lantern and the Guy Gardner, you need to modify it to reality so it looks believable on camera. Again, the suit, just tighter, more form-fitting, a little bit, again, this is movie magic here. So I know it's real. It's a real costume and not spandex. I understand. It's just tighter, more form-fitting, more angled. You know, like the shorts should be a little angled, not so boxery. It looks like diapers a little bit, like people were saying, which is a little uncomfortable. You understand? When we go into the movie, we want to relax and enjoy ourselves and just give way to the beauty of the magic of the film. When they do stuff like that, like even like if you look at the action figure, even they modified it to make it look more form-fitting to the toy. You see what I'm saying? Even in the art, they're tightening the thing, they're upping the pants. Even artists, they can't avoid correcting it, because we know as artists these little changes. Even this, they're still big, but you see how they're more curved up. There's tighter in the waist, broader in the shoulders. So even the toys and the artists, of course that's McFarlane Toys, who gave me my start drawing Spawn issue number 30 double page spread pinup poster, which is really awesome to draw for them. So he's producing these toys, McFarlane Toys, and I was very honored, on a side note, to draw Spawn again live on his website last summer, the Odd Key website, which was really cool on Discord. That was great. But anyway, back to Superman. So I think you guys will find it decent. I think you'd be like, yeah, it's a good Superman film. But again, I want to be shouting from the rooftops. For example, when Hugh Jackman came back and he wore the Wolverine mask, we were like, yes! We were like, freaking yeah! Like, we were super hyped. It created an emotional response in everyone who saw it, all ages. Now, of course, they made that R-rated, so a lot of little kids had to sneak in, or they weren't supposed to be there. But, if an adult will love it, and gravitate toward it, kids usually do too. So you don't want to kind of like dumb it down too much or make it too corny. But back to the persona of Superman, when he's talking with Lois that you saw in the commercial, I'm not giving away spoilers. And he's like, no, Lois, I saved them. Why are you saying that? He's whining and whining. Why? You're Superman. You shouldn't be whining. You should be like, but I saved them, Lois. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. How about this? He should be more stoic, more like James Bond, like he's got that persona, is what I wanted him to have. So he's a little whiny in this for some reason. I don't know, and I know like one of my friends was like, stop whining like a little bitch, motherfucker. I'm sorry I said that. It was really very funny. But but we love the characters, we love the casting, we love all that stuff. Like the Hawk Girl costume, a lot of people were saying it looks a little bit like a CW, mask or a TV show, meaning less realistic, meaning lower budget. Not as believable. I would have loved to see them detail the hell out of it and make it look like this Egyptian kind of cool stuff. So that's my little touch on it. And when I can't talk about certain things, so I have to be careful. But, look, the point is that it's just like you have this massive budget. Let's just super nail it even harder. I know that like James Gunn has given it his all. He's awesome. But you kind of need someone like myself or somebody who's a real aficionado on this stuff to come in and just tighten the little screws, just to make cross the T's, dot the I's just a little tighter. I appreciate all the little cameos. I appreciate everything that was done. Again, it's a decent film. If for example, if this was released on CW or on Amazon or or HBO Max or whatever, Netflix, people be like, wow, this should be in the theaters. But then when you go to the theaters, then you expect even more at an even higher level, and that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to be difficult to deal with. So I think if you overhype it and you make it sound like it's going to be too great, that's doing a disservice. People will be disappointed. There'll be backlash. But if you say, hey guys, it's a decent film, go in there without the anticipation of it being something better than Christopher Reeve's version or, beyond epic, and say, this is a good film. This is a good, solid superhero kind of almost team film. And James Gunn is obviously a genius at writing team movies, especially with that Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Wow. But again, people want to see like more of a Superman movie, just about Superman. It kind of blurs it a little with the other guys, but that's okay. And there you go. And also like the kaiju coming in, it completely disconnects it from being a believable world that we live in, because we don't have kaijus here, right? You see what I'm saying? So you saw that in the commercial. It's its own world, and we kind of know that, but we don't want to be reminded of it with things that are so far beyond us. We want Superman to be in our world because it takes place on Earth, right? So it should be close to that. However, they were able to pull it off in things like the Avengers because they built up each story separately and then had the team up. So we were already invested in that universe. You see what I'm saying? We still felt they were visiting Earth when they were on Earth. And then eventually when you had the invasion of Earth, that came later. It didn't happen during Captain America or Iron Man. That was all grounded here. So you built the characters, you drew the audience in, and then you took it to this kind of unrealistic level that we all bought into because we were along for the ride. We were already invested. So I hope that helps. I hope that's the way to understand how to really bring it home. I know if I did a Superman movie one day, I would love to. Well, I'll keep that secret. But I would love to do a certain way that I think fans would just lose their mind. I think they'd love it. You know, I know they'd love it because I would love it. You know, and I'm like a representation of those fans. You know what I'm saying? And regarding like the Henry Cavill people who, you know, dislike that they didn't bring him back, yeah, it's upsetting. We really got invested with Henry Cavill as Superman. He's the Superman for a generation of people. So it's a shame, you know. He almost looks like, you know, Corenswet, right? They almost look alike. They're similar in their face. And their ages like maybe 10 years different. They look almost the same. But again, you know, there's a fresh reboot. I think they didn't bring back Henry Cavill because maybe he's too expensive now. A lot of that has to do with cost and money, unfortunately, in Hollywood. You know, but I think that, you know, Henry was a really good dark Superman. He's a good dark Superman. He seemed more Superman-esque in his interviews when Henry Cavill was being interviewed and he's smiling, he's more hopeful. So this Superman, you're gonna see that bright, hopeful, kid-friendly Superman. You're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel he's a good representation of Superman, you know? But the direction of it, I just would have made him a little less whiny. I don't like the music. I don't think anybody that I've spoken to, everyone, they don't like the whiny bam bam pew 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 that guitar whiny sound. We don't like that, man. I know there was a time for that. I understand, you know, like back in the late 60s, it was super cool to hear, you know, Kendricks, everybody like doing their thing and stuff. Jimi Hendrix and stuff, like genius stuff there. But that's not Superman. It's a different thing. So it doesn't feel like it fits. And then the music, boom, boom, boom. It's a slow, drawn out. You know, we don't like, just put the theme in, man. The John Williams real theme is really good. It's like they nailed it. They nailed it for Star Wars too. Same John Williams composer. So I don't like that. But again, you know, it's musical taste, right? It's James Gunn's movie. He likes that music. He's going to put it in. You know, it's his film, man. It's just that I think that if I was directing a film and I like this music, I'd probably put my own liking music and the music I like into films as well. But I would try when it's being done with an epic character that I'm taking the mantle of, I would try to find out what the fans are liking and digging and put that music in for them, which I think he thinks he did by using the John Williams theme, but it's kind of like a butchered version of the theme. Anyway, this has been my Superman review. Let me know what you think, guys. Post your comments below. Let me know what you're anticipating the movie will be like. Again, I hope all is well. As they say in comics, to be continued. I'll give you my spoiler review after the film comes out. And if you'd like to see it, please post that in the comments too. Again, this is independent comic book artist, writer, and director Graig Weich from BeyondComics.tv. Peace out.
Upcoming issue of Gekido #1 from Beyond Comics.
Post your comments below and make sure to subscribe, follow, and share. Thanks for watching, guys. Just scan the QR code and follow on our social media to enter.